Welcome to the I Love CVille Show. Thank you kindly for joining us. The show in Charlottesville and Central Virginia where you, the viewer and listener, can dictate the pace and tempo of the program and offer commentary and topics for the show. Today's program may originate in Charlottesville, but we have an audience that's Commonwealth, country, and worldwide on the I Love CVille Network. And today we're presented by Skooma Boutique Dispensary, the best dispensary in Charlottesville. Skooma, with locations on the Downtown Mall and on Elleywood Avenue, with more to come. We also want to spotlight our partners at the Clifton in Keswick. Judah Wickhauer had a fabulous dinner there with a friend a couple of days ago. Their restaurant, Judah 1779, absolutely dynamic and delicious. We encourage you to visit the Clifton and their restaurant 1779 that's open to the public. All right, so today's show we're pumped about. In about 60 to 90 seconds, I'm going to introduce you to Jody and Jason Halloran, the co-owners of StretchLab CVille. Their business is going to open very shortly in Barracks Road Shopping Center. We're going to spotlight the evolution and kind of the aha moment and the birth of this brand in Charlottesville, which I think is going to be absolutely tremendously successful. We'll let you know, or let you hear from the founders what this business is all about in a matter of moments. Before we do, I want to take about 30 seconds to talk about an important day today in Charlottesville, which is August 11th. 5 years ago, we had, unfortunately, Nazis on the lawn. We saw folks from outside this community invade this community and make it a place that I could not recognize. I want to start the program by saying, especially for those that are out of market watching the show, Charlottesville is not an event. Charlottesville is a city full of great people. And we had some unfortunate circumstances August 11th, 5 years ago, but many of those unfortunate circumstances originated with people not tied to Charlottesville. Unfortunately, the town that I love has been manipulated and leveraged by politicians and influencers into a catastrophic day in American history. Please remember that this is a town full of people, and Charlottesville is not an event itself. Please. On that note, we will spotlight our guests. Judah, let's go to the two-shot, first the studio camera, and then the three-shot, and let's welcome Jody and Jason to the show, the co-owners of StretchLab. Guys, your grand opening is a mere weeks away. Weeks away. You guys have been grinding. We'll go ladies first. Before we talk StretchLab, Jody, introduce yourself to everybody that's watching the show.
So, Jody Halloran, I have been here for, I guess I should have calculated, over 35 years now.
Okay.
And we love Charlottesville. The community has been, especially with StretchLab, has been welcoming. We are avid gym membership goers. Our kids are in sports. They've grown up here, done all of the schools, and so the community is just unbelievable. And that's part of why we decided to stay here, was because we felt like it was such a family-friendly community and a great place to raise kids. And I've been managing a fertility business for 23 years now, and so it's welcoming. You have two kids?
Correct. Two kids. Jason, a man about town, one of the friendliest guys in Charlottesville. Has never met a stranger, Jason. Often you will hear his beautiful wife, Jody, zing him about talking to everybody and their mother around the community. And that's why Jason and I get along, because I have that same quality. Jason, my friend, the show is yours. You got a lot of friends watching. Introduce yourself to everybody.
Thanks, Jerry. Jason Halloran. I've been here since 1994, moved here with the Surgical Instruments Company. Thought Charlottesville was unique, maybe interesting, maybe a little weird when I first moved
here. It is a little weird.
Right? Yeah, to a Southern California kid growing up, you know.
Oh, wait, is it Southern California that's weird? Or is it Charlottesville that's weird?
It took me a minute, but it's definitely Southern California that's weird. But I learned a lot, grew up fast in Southern California, and I've been able to bring that to my experience here in Charlottesville. And I really appreciate this community, like Jody was saying. We both played sports through school. I played amateur volleyball, have coached. We both coach Junior Olympics volleyball, coach youth baseball, youth basketball, youth soccer. We've got a daughter that's a pole vaulter at Western Albemarle High School, going towards greatness in that sport. And so we've been around athletics all of our life. We're very healthy. We appreciate fitness. But at the same time, we've had injuries through the years. And so a lot of the reason why we're here today is because we want to help people within this community not go through the injuries that we've gone through as we've done different athletic things through our career. Very well tied into the community. I also participate in the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Student of the Year Leadership Board, actively involved in other organizations. We hosted Tom Sox baseball players for several years as the Tom Sox were getting started. So very well entrenched, love Charlottesville, love the active community, and are just really excited to bring this service that nobody else is really doing, not at this level, to our community to help our community stay active and live long.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the brand and the business here. So you guys, and I'm gonna hype you guys, but it's very accurate. You guys are crushing it. You're both successful. I mean, you guys are killing it in your careers, and you're choosing to launch a business, right? You're heading toward retirement with your primary careers. You're launching a business here, taking a risk, which I admire. Jody, put in perspective why you guys did this.
It's really about giving back to the community. We feel like everybody, we're such an active community here. The schools are great. The people are great. The gyms are great. All of our networks have been great. And we want to give back to the community at this point. I do some of that with the fertility field being that I've been running or managing for 23 years. But part of what was important to me going into this venture when he introduced it was, I think, being from the medical field, the education, the training piece, and being sure that what we're going to roll out to the community is safe, is going to prevent injuries, and that our people have the education, they have the training, they have to go through 60 to 80 hours of additional training for this. So for me, that was really important as we are looking into this venture and wanting to roll it out to help people be more flexible, be more mobile and active, and prevent injuries, and just keep doing what they want to do, whether it's country line dancing or running marathons or CrossFit or just playing with their grandkids or getting out of bed every day without pain or injuries or getting out of their car.
I think it's going to be wildly successful. As someone who, like you guys, has been always involved in sports and is doing a couple hours a day of grinding athletically, the importance of stretching from a preventative maintenance standpoint and a quality of life standpoint is paramount. But what I found is when you're left to stretching on your own accord, you don't do it.
Nobody does.
I don't do it. I know how important it is. The next morning, I'm my hamstrings tight, my groin's tight, my glutes are tight. I'm not struggling to get out of bed, but stiff as a board. When if I'd stretched beforehand or afterwards, I know perhaps that's not the case. So having almost this accountability partner,
that's right,
where I'm paying for this service, I need to use it, I know this is going to help my quality of life and make me perform athletically better and longer. I mean, this is we need oxygen to breathe to stay alive here.
Yes.
I mean, this is a no-brainer here. Throwing it to you here, Jason.
That's right. Yeah, and I mean, coming from that athletic background, having the injuries, looking at ruptured ACL, torn meniscus in my knee, cracked heel bone. Why? Because I didn't stretch, right? I was in the gym a lot.
This guy throws up weight here. He's jacked. Jason is jacked over here.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I do have a little bit of fun in the gym. And the problem is that we all use our muscles, certain muscles more than others. We don't have good balance. We don't have good range of motion because of that. And to Jerry's point, if you're not doing that stretching, you're going to have injuries, and you're going to have situations where you're favoring one side or the other, and that's really when you create problems.
Right.
And so we've done all of the sports massages, the deep tissue massages. We've been through physical therapy after surgery, and all of that kind of stuff. And this is a way that we can really get out there in the community and help prevent people from those injuries and really help them achieve those goals. And I'll say it personally for myself, I feel like as I go through different iterations of my life and my health and my wellness, you reach plateaus. right? And we sit there and we go, well, if I just put in a little bit more time, or I eat a little differently or something like that, and then maybe I'll get over that plateau. And I'm here to tell you that assisted stretching, the way that we're delivering it at StretchLab, is what people need to get them through those plateaus, because it literally enables you to use your muscles and your whole body strength more by having the flexibility and range of motion.
I think
Support
it's genius.
your
Guaranteed.
bones. Yeah, and it's it's just one of those things that's made for everybody of all ages. From the young 14, 15, 16-year-old athlete who's trying to keep up with baseball or lacrosse and track and field, to the 85 and 90-year-old people who are just trying to stay active. And that's the nice thing, is what we wanted to roll something out that was not just necessarily specific to a very small population. This is something that's specific to the entire community. We'll even have family memberships where, you can buy a family membership for everybody in the household because your kids need it, you need it, you've been sitting at a desk all day or standing on your feet all day as a nurse, whatever the case may be.
I love it. I think you guys are going to crush it with this. Let's talk X's and O's of the business model. Why Barracks Road? How does the business model work from a membership standpoint? And what can customers expect from first time, second time customer to the customer that's a repeat or has it on membership and is a customer a long time? Jason, you want to start with that?
Yeah, I'll start with that. So the model is that you can stretch once and get a little bit of benefit from it. But let's be real, right? You need to stretch on a regular basis. And so the whole program is developed on having a membership and coming in weekly, whether it's once, twice, or 3 times a week, all right? And then not only are you getting amazing assisted stretching from our highly trained flexologists like Jody was talking about, we also have additional components that are built into that. So we have a MAPS component that a first-time customer, new member comes in, they get scanned by a machine. It's basically an iPad with a piece of software on it that uses the camera, and it scans you doing 3 different movements. It takes that and overlays that over what is supposed to be the perfect, human functionality.
Sure.
And then it spits out over 100 data points and gives you visualization on where you're off from a mobility, activation, posture, and symmetry perspective. And so that's a very powerful tool, right? Because I can sit here and I can tell you that my back hurts, right? But why does my back hurt? It's probably because my glutes are tight, my hamstrings are tight, right? All of that kind of stuff. So this tool is able to tell you that, give you that information right there, and then allow the flexologist to use the expertise that they have through our training program to give you a customized stretch, to get you through what's called periodization. So the goal is, if you're out of balance, out of posture, out of symmetry, right, we're going to work through that with you. The flexologists are going to work through that with you over a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever the case may be. And that's why it's got to be membership based, right? You can't, it's nothing, it's not
no
something,
quick fix.
You can't come in here.
Yeah.
That's right, exactly.
And the nice thing about the MAPS technology is you'll get that measured every month. So from the client's perspective, they will not only feel better and move better, but they will also see their numbers and their colors on the screen change.
Nice.
So the goal is to see less red, more yellow, more green. And so it's a real visualization as well, besides feeling better.
I think it's genius. I think it's, I'm curious of your aha moment for this. And I'm also curious of how you manage the risk profile here, because let's cut to the chase here. It's very different when you're launching a business when you're in your 20s and you have no kids. I launched my business, I was in mid-20s, no kids, no risk whatsoever here. You guys got some risk here, right? You guys got some risk here.
No risk.
You do. Jody says, yeah, Jason says that. You're at Barracks Road ain't cheap. Barracks Road is also a phenomenal shopping center. You make a strong argument, and I'm a downtown guy. I would straight up say that Barracks is probably the top shopping corridor, or the most customer engagement of any shopping corridor in Central Virginia. So you went to the #1 spot.
Right.
Aha moment, managing the risk, and talk to us about why Barracks.
Barracks was really foot traffic. There are other businesses there, such as, Orange Theory and other, Club Pilates and other fitness centers that are there that really work well with us and we complement them. And then the foot traffic there, again, you know, people are just walking around, and I mean, the amount of work that they're doing and keeping that shopping center up and running, and they're always doing some great events. So they take care of their shopping center, unlike everybody else, I think.
In the centralized location.
Right.
Because this is something, there's going to be one studio likely. I mean, if we can get this thing to a point where we have 2 studios in Charlottesville, we're really doing something. But really that centralized location to serve the greater community of Charlottesville.
Where did you get the, StretchLab, where did the idea come from? Why bring it to Charlottesville? What was the aha moment?
The aha was him being on social media.
Okay.
The aha for me, to work a little bit backwards, is I need to try this out. I need to feel it myself. I need to understand the education and the training, because again, for me, that was huge. And so we ended up making a trip down to Raleigh, North Carolina, because that was the closest open studio to us. And having, I think at that point, we only had a 25-minute stretch. And really just connecting with the flexologist, who's the person who's performing all the stretches, and then getting off the table and feeling instantly not only relaxed, because there is a component, we haven't even talked about that. We've talked about all of the physical benefits to this, but we haven't talked about the mental component of this just being a very relaxing, you're on the table and you're weightless. But so having that coming off the table and then working out that evening, I noticed instantaneously a difference in my range of motion for the shoulder exercises that I was working on. My run was better, smoother. So it was an instantaneous improvement. And then again, from the education piece of it, training was important. And so I met with the master educator of the program at StretchLab for a couple of hours, who is passionate about what he does and how he created the program. And what the education piece is and how they stay on top of all of the new things coming down the pipeline. And after meeting with him and having a several-hour conversation, I was like, I'm 100% in.
That's awesome.
We're 100% in because we've also done 5 locations as well.
Oh, tell me
so
about
that's the risk here.
Wow, you didn't tell me about that.
You're supposed to keep that a secret.
5 locations? Jason?
I agreed to 1, and then
he's a big thinker. He's a big vision guy, right?
He is.
Wow.
I agreed to 1, and then he was like, well, really, to make this make sense, we need to do 3, and then we're on the interviewing process, and they're like, so how many locations? And Jason's like, 5, and I was like, I don't think we talked about 5, but
you want to talk about that?
Well, I mean, when you're bringing a concept like this and you're doing all the initial legwork, right? You're going through, you're creating all the bank accounts, you're doing all the insurance, you're setting up the whole infrastructure, right? When you look at what that looks like, the investment in that, the real way to make this work.
Economies of scale.
Economies of scale is to do this more than one location. And especially, right, what is really different about this concept and the way that this service is delivered is through the flexologists. And so you have to imagine we're going to have 14 to 16 flexologists on staff at any given moment. And so you're going to have turnover with flexologists, right? And so what we have to do is we have to send these people, to Jody's point, almost 80 hours of training. So there's a huge investment piece there. And so by doing multiple studios in the Central Virginia area, we're going to be able to have a master flexologist like Jody was talking about and be able to train our own flexologists within our own portion of the business and not have to go out and pay for all of this additional training. You're going to have turnover. People are going to move. They're going to change what they want to do. And so we wanted to build that into this concept. And we really wanted to figure out a way that we can help out these other communities, right? Our other areas are Fredericksburg, the Williamsburg area, Yorktown. Those communities are very much like Charlottesville, right? Highly educated, highly active,
disposable income,
retirement, all of those kinds of things for people that understand the value of what the services are that we're offering and are going to get benefits from it.
That's brilliant. So have you thought potentially, and I don't want to put the cart before the horse, where the other locations would be?
Within respect to those locations that I just announced. We're already working with real estate agents on Fredericksburg and Williamsburg.
I love it.
To figure out where, and it's one of those things where location is key with the studios, right? Because we have to be in the right locations. And then the other piece of this is finding the right general manager / sales manager and the flexologist for this. So really, it's not just, hey, we go find a spot, we drop down and, set stuff up. There's a lot that has to go on behind the scenes, and we've been working on this since February.
Well, and that's what's really important too, especially to Charlottesville, but all the other locations, is building a really good, strong, diverse team. The communities are diverse. We want to be able to have people from different backgrounds. The nice thing about our flexologists is they have to have some previous certification or bachelor's degree, whether it's in yoga, massage, Group X, TRX, personal training, or a bachelor's in sports medicine or kinesiology. And so it was really important as I was going through the interviewing process and recruiting these people, is that I was pulling people from those different backgrounds to go into the flexology training. And then also just having different personalities, because we're going to have people from the community that have different personalities. They have different desires and different goals and different needs. And so they might not always mesh with the very first flex that they're going to meet with. But we've got 10 others, 12 others that they can try out, and they'll be one of those in that mix that's going to, because that's going to be a personal connection for them as well. That the goal is that they're going to stay with that same flexologist visit
for
after
years.
Visits. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so why would you stop if the person's giving you quality of life?
That's right. That's right.
And it's a relationship.
Yeah, and I'm going to give Jody some mad props here, right? What is the biggest challenge right now with new businesses or businesses
hiring?
in general? It's staffing.
Yeah,
that's
I
right.
was going to ask you that.
So, and she has been able to put together an amazing team of flexologists.
Give Jody some love here.
Yeah.
Get some love over here, Jody.
Definitely.
Love Jody on
Definitely.
the I Love CVille Show.
She's awesome, right? So she has folks that are physical therapy assistants, yoga instructors, personal trainers.
Well, you guys are so connected in like so many different social networks, because you're I'm very likable, popular people over here, Jody and Jason here, but so many people.
Yeah, and I will say
the challenge is going to be hiring outside of market. Right?
Well, no, I'll actually flip the table on you on this.
Okay,
one.
please.
We thought, Jerry, that we were going to be able to tap into those resources, those social network resources that we have. And while those are great for learning more about the business and really honing in on the industry and stuff like that,
your pop-ups it helped.
The pop-ups it helps most definitely, and the community engagement and everything. We've gotten just a little bit of success from a staffing perspective out of that. It's really been Jody on the ground, recruiting, talking with people, spending countless hours. I mean, she'll come home from the gym and she's talking to somebody on the phone and sitting in our driveway for half an hour in the car, really, working with somebody to figure out if they're a good fit for our team and putting in the extra effort, weekends, nights. She's got a day job.
Our current team is not all from Charlottesville. I mean, some of them have moved here, for StretchLab, or just recently, relocated here and found
by
us.
happenstance.
Yeah,
exactly.
So,
well, let's talk about this, because we love to champion the small business on this show. I mean, we're small business ourselves. What have been the challenges of launching the business? Because every business has challenges, and we like to talk about it because other people that watch the show are in a similar position, and then they can relate. And then, the tough part about entrepreneurship is it's isolating, and you could feel like you're on an island sometimes. So like when we share these challenges with everybody, it kind of like the feedback I get from the viewers and listeners is like, oh, I'm struggling with this as well, and they can identify with the plights that we're within.
Right.
So what have been the challenges, if I could ask?
I'm going to jump in here real quick, just because I want to make it funny.
Sure.
Right? We've both opened up businesses and
you guys are serial entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So this isn't our first run at this, right? The biggest challenge for us is maintaining our relationship.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Husband and wife.
I mean, let's put all that out there. But it's amazing. I mean, we've done so much stuff together. We've flipped 3 houses. We've started multiple businesses together. So that is probably just a continued challenge, and we're not going to get away from that. But we're staying strong, and it's getting us to where we want to go. And I'll let Jody sort of answer your question about the other nuts and bolts of what our challenges are.
I would say staffing, definitely, just kind of getting through, because for StretchLab, we're such a unique niche.
Sure.
We're not like the other boutique fitnesses, or even when we go to hire sales associates for the studio, we're not just hiring just they're not just selling any sort of retail item, so that's been the biggest struggle, is finding something specifically for what people don't know anything about.
Right.
And spending the 45 minutes to an hour on the phone with them, explaining what we're about, why it's so great. And then, of course, being a new business, there's that hesitation as well for people. Probably the other factor for us, I would say, is because we both are still working full-time, so being able to put in all of the time needed for all of the basic operational, finding the retail space, doing the LOI, making out the lease, that in and of itself is a full-time job, I think.
Put that in perspective. The process of going through leasing a Class A space in Barracks Road, a lot of people do not realize how incredibly challenging and competitive this is. I'm going to ask you how many pages are in the lease, because I would imagine a federal realty lease is over 100 pages.
It is over 100 pages.
Okay, so
No
they
questions
literally have
asked.
thought about every single thing. It's a publicly traded company, and they put it in this lease. Can we talk about some of that stuff? I mean, going after a place like Barracks is no easy task.
No, but I will say the one benefit that we do have, right, is that this is a brand that has 9 other sister brands, right? So Club Pilates, Pure Barre, there's the whole slew of them. I won't go through them, all. But
there's a proven track record.
There's a proven track record, and because Federal's a national company, like you're saying, Jerry,
they've worked with other.
we've worked with. There's other sister brands of ours that have done deals at Federal. So we did have that one leg up, I will say, but that still doesn't overcome all of the ins and outs of it. And we've learned a lot through this. We've done lease negotiations for other spaces for other companies that we have. It's not our first time doing that.
Sure.
This is at a larger scale. Talk about the risk. There's more liability, right?
Yeah.
It's a 10-year lease.
Dang, I was going to ask you that.
Do the math on that, right? So, there's
doing it in my head right now. There's a lot of moolah right there.
There's components to that, but the business model's there, and we've got the support, and it's all going to work out great. But I will say that's where those economies of scale now really come into play, right? Because you go to the next location, you understand all of those unique intricacies of this lease, this model, this concept, and you just take that forward. And that next lease process is going to be so much smoother because of that. I
think probably what everybody's experiencing right now, due to COVID, is kind of, permitting as well. The city is so behind. Yeah, they are behind. They're severely short-staffed. And so, that's, trying to get that complete so that we can move on and have these fixed dates has been another lengthy process. But there's no...
Can you give us some insight into that? How does the build-out work? I mean, I love doing the show because I learn. Like, we have guests on here, and I learn from you guys. Can you give us some insight into the build-out, the permitting process, how long that takes? Are you given just a white box at Barracks Road, and then
Barracks Road was extremely supportive when it came to that. Okay. I mean, they had to rip out quite a bit of the studio and presented us with a white box.
Because what was it before?
It was a hair salon.
Hair salon, right. So they white boxed it for you guys, and then you built it out?
That's right.
Yep. Wow. And so we're in the process of building it out. I mean, for us, fortunately, we're a fairly simple studio.
Sure.
There's
open space, tables.
Open space, tables, retail, that sort of thing. So
and we're actually, because of timing and the way everything works out, we're using the landlord's GC to get our part of the build out done.
General contractor for those that are,
That's right, yeah. So our portion of that really isn't a lot. It's a few walls, floor finishes, paint, electrical, that kind of stuff. So it just made sense to leverage the GC that was already going to be in there building out the bathrooms and, those kind of mechanical components to just come in and finish the project, essentially.
And I would really say the delay right now has just been the permitting, which was supposed to go through. We're waiting on that news as of yesterday, I think. So
we got our friends over at the Boar's Head Resort watching us right now. Betsy Hill, Nugent, hello. We love you. One of the best tennis instructors.
We love Betsy.
I love Betsy. Betsy, you are A+ people, and you know I love you, Betsy.
She's watched our kids grow up.
She's amazing.
Amazing part of this. Amazing person in the society. That's
Christopher Cosmos. Giving you some props from LA.
We love Chris Cosmos.
SoCal in the house over here. Questions coming in from the viewers and listeners. I'll get to the questions. So you, the viewer and listener, can give Jason and Jody props by leaving your props in the comment section. And if you want to ask them a question, you can do that as well, and I will relay it live on air. First, a couple more from me, please. What excites me about this is you have in front of you one of the tasks or challenges is educating the market on the service you provide. And you guys are first to market, so you almost have to create the market with your marketing collateral and the education you offer. And that's no easy task. And that's, I think, what you're doing, obviously, doing shows like this and the pop-ups that you're doing around town. They're creating a new market that does not exist in Charlottesville. So they have to educate the market before the market understands what their business is about.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, the market is here, right? We all know we need to stretch. To your point, the way you started this off, right?
Yeah.
We all know we need to stretch. Nobody does it enough. When we talk to people, right, they get it. They understand the need for it. Some folks are having a hard time with figuring out how this fits into their existing lifestyle. Right? How can I fit this into my 3 or 4 gym memberships or my personal trainer or whatever, my time, my business, all of that kind of stuff. But I'm here to tell you that the benefits from this are you just can't even measurable. They're immeasurable, exactly, immeasurable. So when you think about how does this support my well-being and my life and why would I need this, you just have to come give it a try, right? So what we're doing from now until we get to that opening phase, the soft opening phase at the end of next month, is we're all around town servicing pop-ups. We bring our tent, 2 tables and 2 flexologists, and we offer free 15-minute demo stretches for everybody. Come try it out. I'll guarantee you're going to love it. You're going to come off the table, to Jody's point, feeling weightless. You're going to feel younger. That's just 9 of our basic stretches in 15 minutes, right? During a 50-minute session, which is our most popular membership, you get 26 stretches, right? So come experience it. Come enjoy just that little taste of it, and then really see how this can be impactful in your life. Regardless of your athletic ability, what you do on a daily basis, this is going to benefit everybody.
What are you thinking, Jody?
Well, 2 things. I mean, we've already had a couple of clients who have just come in for the 15-minute stretches and then bring some of their friends or their family members back, and they've told us, I used to have this constant leg pain every day just walking around. And you know what? Since I had my stretch last week, I haven't experienced it. So we've already gotten a couple
just like that, one stretch.
One short
right?
stretch.
Yeah.
So seeing that in such a short period of time is just, it makes this all worthwhile. From a marketing perspective, we have great social networks here, social media, but like you're saying, we're having to create a lot of this content that's very unique to us because it's not out there. So, and reaching everybody, all of the athletes and the older people and, the desk job people. So a lot of that content is really important to us, and that's one of the things that we're going to really start focusing on and hammering on in the next few weeks is more of the local organic stuff.
You got a social media wizard right here. This guy's Mr. Social Media over here.
I love it.
I'm not so.
Kathy, excuse me one second. We got, Kathy Maynard giving you some props. We love the Maynard family. We love Darren Maynard on this program here. So questions. We'll get to questions here. So we have multiple people asking, when is the official grand opening and how they can find out more information on membership?
Great. Go for it.
Grand opening, soft opening is what it's called. So we'll open to the public around the end of September. We don't have an exact date, but end of September, based on permitting and construction, is our goal right now. Soft opening is usually 2 to 4 weeks, and then we'll hit grand opening in middle of October to end of October.
Tell us about membership.
Memberships.
Yeah, so memberships, you can find out about those by coming to one of the pop-ups. It's the best way to do it, right? Come in, get a stretch. One of the whatever flexologists you work with, they're going to talk with you about your goals, what your activity level is, what it is that you want to achieve, with your physical activity or stress or whatever it is, right? And then from there, they're going to make a recommendation on your membership. And
my recommendation on that is catch us sooner rather than later. Because, there's tiers that we go through for pricing, and so the sooner you get in those memberships, the lower your fees are.
Call to action right there. I like the call to action right there by Jody. It's fabulous. You guys are a breeze to interview. We're 40 minutes in, and we have more questions coming. Told you this would fly. This is going to be easy, right? Catherine, what's up? D'Souza at Boar's Head. Boar's Head's representing right now on the talk show. Judah Wick, you're the best. He's the director. Got a little scratch in my throat, and Judah's saving the day with the water.
We love Boar's Head, too.
So here's a good question. How about this is from Grayson, who's watching in North Downtown. Do you guys have testimonials, or as Jerry calls it, a proof of performance from someone locally that showcases their success story that we can check out? That's a great question.
It's a great question. And to Jody's point, she gave one about an individual that came in for a stretch, had calf pain, right? Immediately the next week, she brought in a friend. And when she came in with that friend, she said, hey, I have not had my calf pain for the last week since I had my stretch. And that was something that she had had all the time. I'll give you a personal endorsement from me, right? We are the benefactors of all this training that our flexologists.
He gets lots of practice.
I bet he does.
Yeah. So we've been getting stretched regularly for about 3 months now.
Not we.
Well, me.
Well, and I want to emphasize this, and I sincerely mean this. I've seen Jason in the gym. Dude is throwing up weight, man. Dude is throwing up weight, so he needs to stay nimble with what he's throwing up.
Well, I've had really bad IT band pain, TFL pain, all down the left side of my leg since before the end of the year, right? And over the past 3 months from regular stretching, that pain is completely gone. I'm actually able to rotate completely in my golf swing. I've actually been able to go out and run a little bit with Jody because Jody likes to run.
She's kicking your ass over there.
Well, we know that. We know
Jody
that.
loved that right there. She's so
I run with him for like a quarter of a mile, and I'm like, you're good. I'll meet you on the backswing.
So this is a great question. This is from Lauren, who's watching in Keswick. Do you work with pregnant women? Is it private, meaning one-on-one, like a personal trainer, especially since I'm deep in my pregnancy? That's a great question.
Well, and that's one of the nice things about the education and the training, and that was important to me, again, being in the medical field, is that I wanted to be sure that we could deal with pregnant women, since I work in the infertility field, people who are hyper-flexible, scoliosis, all of those different backgrounds. So during their in-person workshop, they are trained on how to handle those different backgrounds that they might be seeing or those different medical experiences. So yes, we can work on pregnant women, and I forgot the second part of the question.
It's all one-on-one.
It is, right? Yeah, so one-on-one is fits and stretching.
With a flexologist, they're working with you directly. So yes to that answer.
Philip Dow in Scottsville, welcome to the program, guys. Folks in Fredericksburg and in Williamsburg, welcome to the show. So here's another great question. This is from a mom, Stacy. She says, how young is too young, or when can someone start from a youth age standpoint with StretchLab Charlottesville? Great question.
It's a great question. And I mean, we have not had a lot of youth come into the demo stretches just yet, right, because of where we're at in the process. But we hear that other studios have youth in the 14-year-old range, 15, right, that are doing competitive sports, right, playing, 6-7 days a week. All right, we did that with our son. We did travel baseball. We've done travel gymnastics with our daughter. We know that if we would have had this service available to us then we would have been able to provide that to our kids and help them through their journey, right? Because all of this helps injury prevention and then helps them achieve their goals, whatever that may be.
Increases performance. So,
Yep.
Erin King, welcome to the program. She's the catering manager, I believe, at Feast. Is that right, Erin? Welcome to the show, EK. More questions coming in for you guys. I love when you guys interact with the show and offer perspective. So this is a good one. First, Erin's got a response. I keep seeing them on Facebook, and it has really sparked my interest. Aging sucks, and I'm excited about this business. My lower back needs their help. So your digital advertising campaign is working over there, Jason.
Well, in the restaurant industry, right? The medical, like nurses, we have some radiation technologists that have come in. I mean, all of those people that are on their feet all day long, right? What is it that they want to do when they go home? They're going to sit down,
Besides have a IPA or a bourbon.
That's right, yeah.
Maybe a glass of wine,
Yeah.
maybe a glass of wine.
And so they're perfect candidates for this, right?
They are.
Come in after a long day of work, on your feet, get a stretch, go home feeling relieved, rinse and repeat. One of the other components that I wanted to share with you, Jerry,
Sure.
that's a part of our program as well, is as a member, you get access to our online app. You have hundreds of videos, stretch videos on there. We have a specifically designed stretch strap just for StretchLab that has loops stitched into the stretch, so you can do resistance-based stretching. So it's not only that you're just coming in once or twice a week and getting a stretch. Through the whole comprehensive program, you're going to have the tools to be able to do maintenance on your own throughout the week. And then you come in with the flexologist, you get stretched, you improve week after week, we measure you, and you're going to be great. In 6 to 9 months, you're going to be feeling awesome, and you're going to be able to then keep working with us and go achieve those other goals that you want to in your life.
He's so good at this. Jason is so good at this. I love him. He's so
Well, and
good at
specific
this.
for some like athletes, like golfers and tennis players and squash players and that sort of thing, is there hip rotation for them too? I mean, this is why this is geared for so many, but there's people who don't realize why their swing is so stiff or not, not there. Jason being as a golfer, this so helps, especially, like I said, with the hip flexors and the IT bands. So
you guys can just help people age more gracefully. I mean, that's what StretchLab can do, is just help you age more gracefully and with improved quality of life.
Exactly.
That's the essence of the business, which I think is genius, because you guys are offering something for the community that makes the community better.
That's right.
That's what it is in a
right.
nutshell.
Yeah.
I love this business.
Healthier, more active,
Yeah.
age longer,
Yeah.
get more out of life, more return on
Improved
your investment.
performance.
It's
right?
a no-brainer. This
Yeah.
is a great question here from Stephen. I love when the community asks questions on the show. Stephen says, will this be bundled at all with gym memberships locally?
So that's a really good question, and we've already started working with some of the other gyms that are in town about partnerships, right? So where we could offer up an additional discount off of our retail pricing for those members, right? So whether you're a Boar's Head member, Farmington, ACAC, Orange Theory, Zoom, all of those. So so that's really the only play that we have on sort of bundling it right now, is to create those kind of agreements. And I'll parlay that. One of the other questions that we get is this covered by insurance? We'll just open that up right now, right? And so there's no direct insurance coverage for this yet, but there should be, right?
Yeah.
This is preventative medicine. This keeps people out of the hospitals. Let's do this.
This is synonymous with going to the dentist twice a year for a checkup. I mean, that's
Right,
what this should be
right.
seen as, in the same category.
Exactly.
It's preventative maintenance that keeps other issues down the road that are more costly from happening.
That's right.
I mean,
And we
this
should
is,
all be
so
doing this.
obvious to me. This is brilliant.
Yeah, and so one other last point on
Sure.
that is that if you do have an HSA or some sort of program that has a credit card that you can use to pay for some of those wellness benefits and stuff like that, of course, we can use those, right? But as far as submitting to Aetna or Cigna or any of those, that's not something that's in play at this point.
And I'm going to say this is me, not you here, okay? The gyms that are watching this program, and we work with some of them, you guys would be crazy not to form a strategic partnership with StretchLab. This is going to make your membership more active and engaged at your gym because they're staying healthier. That means they're coming to your gym membership and keeping their membership every month more active with you. This is a no-brainer. Some closing thoughts for the community. Jody, we'll go with you about StretchLab, about this fantastic journey that you're heading down, about this incredible husband that you have, Jason, over here.
It's her. I'm the lucky one. I won the lottery.
I was thinking you a couple times. I wanted to give you some love over here. Jason outkicked his coverage.
That's exactly right.
All right, so the show is yours.
I want feedback. Being the owners, service, the experience, and I think that's one of the things that we didn't touch on, but I want a person to feel completely individualized. When they come in, I want a spa-like experience. I want our front desk to know who they are. I want them to know who their grandkids are and when they came back from vacation. And so really the expectation is when they come into the studio, we're going to greet them. We're going to really know them on a personal level. And then they're going to spend either 25 minutes or 50 minutes with their flexologist checking in and just, again, getting that personal connection, but also saying, hey, today I'm really feeling it in my shoulder, so can we focus on this one? So I'm excited about what we're bringing into the community. I'm excited about what, we've already heard people talking about, all of the pop-ups and the collaborations and the relationships that we've already created. Yes, it's a lot of work, but it's again, no-brainer. We're going to help this active community in every form and fashion.
Nice.
The reward is just amazing for us, right? To be able to hear these stories of people feeling better and being able to do stuff that they haven't been able to do. It's just what we live for, right? We are in those service industries, right? I'm in technology. We love working with people, right? This is just another conduit to be able to do that. And to sort of springboard off of that, being able to help this amazing community out. Like, we're going to do stuff with Girls on the Run. We did charity golf tournament with the UVA Children's Hospital, Arc of the Piedmont. We're setting up with them. We really want to use this as an ability. We're actually going to go out to Camp for Real next week too, for the kids.
Scotty Williams.
Yeah, Scott Williams.
Scott. He's the man.
And we're going to send one of our flexologists out there and do a group stretch, because this business is not just about making money. This business is about teaching the community the value of stretching at the lowest age possible, so that you guys don't have to deal with the injuries that we've had to deal with, whatever that may be.
You guys are a breeze to interview. A breeze, dude. An absolute breeze.
Well, we're passionate.
One more compliment.
Please.
We had an 85-year-old a few weeks ago come in and sign up, and her goal is she is country western line dancing still at the age of 85.
That's awesome.
And there was another dance that she just loves to do, and so her coming in and doing this is because she wants to be able to beat the 50-year-olds and the 60-year-olds, and she wants to keep on doing this line dancing. And so, she said afterwards that she's like, I'm still going to be the best out there at 85.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. Multiple people are asking when the next pop-up is.
Today. Yeah.
We have one pretty much 6. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
6 days a week. 6 days a week, all times of the day. So we've.
Is there a pop-up schedule?
There is.
Yeah. Is it on the Facebook?
It's on Facebook.
Okay.
And it's in our bio on Instagram.
Okay.
We're posting stuff all the time. Go there, check it out. We're doing basically a week rolling schedule.
That's awesome.
So jump in there. Again, not to create so much of a sense of urgency, but the time to get in is right now. Okay, now we're giving away the free pop-up, the free stretches. Once we get that studio open, you're still able to come in and do introductory stretches, but they're 50% of the price of a regular stretch. So now's your opportunity, basically over the next 6 weeks, to come in and get a free stretch, see how amazing this is, and to Jody's point earlier, sign up for our founders memberships. They're the deepest discounted memberships you're going to get, the best opportunity to get in early and keep that membership rate for the life of your membership. Now is the time. Don't wait.
They are going to crush it, guys. You can find them on Facebook, StretchLab Charlottesville. I'm on their Facebook right now. They do a fantastic job of creating content. You can find the pop-ups. I'm getting that question multiple times from people. I'm getting the email address question. I believe it says on the Facebook. Jason, can you help me with that? Charlottesville at StretchLab.com?
That's exactly right. Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. Charlottesville at StretchLab.com. This is a business owned by locals that have made the community better, that we like. Support them, please. The grand opening is right around the corner. Anytime you guys want to come back.
Thank you.
We appreciate it, Jerry.
Yeah, it was super fun.
We'll be back.
I will see you later, and thank you kindly for joining us on the program today.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Our pleasure, guys. Follow them on Facebook and support the businesses that make the community better, and this one undoubtedly is. Questions about some other topics we'll get to here in a matter of moments. Before we do, I want to reiterate how we started the show today take care, guys, about A11 and A12, which is right around the corner. Let's not forget the significance of the day. Let's remember 5 years ago, we had 100 plus Nazis on the grounds at the University of Virginia with tiki torches. Let's all realize that Charlottesville is a community of people and not an event like the national media and or politicians have depicted Charlottesville as. It's people. It's not an event. Stop leveraging Charlottesville for political purposes. We want to heal, and we don't want to be utilized as bait in your fishing expedition for clout and influence. And we've seen many politicians do that. And tomorrow on August 12th, A12, a day that undoubtedly lives in infamy in Charlottesville history, let's remember that multiple lives were lost, including Heather Heyer's 200 yards from where I'm sitting right now. Still very real and raw for me. Like many of you, I was outside this studio on Market Street on August 12th. And I saw sin and evil that I had never seen before. And people that I didn't recognize that weren't from this community. It's still very real and raw for me, as it is for many of you. We'll talk more about this tomorrow on Friday, the 5-year anniversary of August 12th here on the I Love CVille Show. We've covered a topic on this program that I think needs a little bit more attention. We'll welcome Judah Wickower on a two-shot. Judah Wickower, my friend, I think you've done a great job this week. We've covered this Tonsler Park, Tonsler League shooting since Monday. We now have more information to relay to the community on this talk show. We'll set the stage and give some background for the viewers and listeners. This past Sunday, there was a shooting around Tonsler Park. In Judah, initially CBS 19, the TV station, reported that the shooting occurred in the 400th block of, 5th Street Southwest? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
The 400th block of 5th Street Southwest.
As far as I know, that's the only thing that's been reported about it.
I think you're right. And what we've learned since, including last night, and this is, I'm going to utilize the word allegedly, someone was shot at Tonsler Park. We learned this last night. You want to put the photos on screen? So while CBS 19 reported early this week that the shooting happened in a neighborhood away from Tonsler Park, one of the fans in attendance of the Tonsler League on Sunday showed photos of him in a hospital and his leg bleeding, and he wrote words on Twitter and on Instagram saying he was standing on the sidelines when he was shot in the leg. We also know that Dr. Wes Bellamy, the commissioner of the league, he tweeted earlier this week that the shooting did not happen in Tonsler Park. He has since deleted that tweet. That tweet has been deleted. You can find a screenshot of that tweet on the I Love CVille Instagram account if you'd like to read it. The tweet has been deleted, and that tweet has been replaced with an apology tweet from Dr. Wes Bellamy. I believe you're putting this on screen, Judah, is that right?
I can get it up there.
Okay. Let us know what's on there first. Did you put the photos of the guy in the hospital yet?
Yeah, they went up.
And these are from his Instagram account. His Instagram account. This morning, Dr. Bellamy tweets, "I owe each of you an apology. I was incorrect. What I was told was not accurate. And after speaking to the guy who went to the hospital, it was clear to me that I was wrong. Again, I apologize. It's my fault." So the narrative is completely different now, Judah. Right?
Yeah.
The beginning of the week,
His tweet is up.
Dr. Bellamy's tweet is up. Look at the screen. At the beginning of the week, we were under the impression that the shooting didn't happen here in Tonsler Park. At the beginning of the week, we were under the impression that the shooting happened a neighborhood away from the park.
Yeah. And I would say we're still not sure that it happened at the park. It seems apparent that that the guy that was shot was at the park, but we don't know that the shooter was necessarily
That's a good point.
anywhere close to him.
Because it could have been a stray bullet.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely heard gunshots in that video.
And they were fairly loud and seemed very close to where the game was happening.
Yeah.
And we also now know that someone watching the game while in the park got hit by a bullet.
Yeah.
So I think what's happening is we've become a news desert.
Yeah.
You have the Daily Progress down to one reporter, and that one reporter's on the UVA beat and not the city beat. The TV stations are not driving the advertising revenue they once did because it's traditional media, and because they're not driving the advertising revenue that they once did, they don't have the income, the money, to pay reporters that are institutional and have the connections and stay in one place. So because they're, saving money, they're going with the fresh out of college route. And I'm not knocking anyone that's fresh out of college. You got to cut your teeth somewhere. But a reporter fresh out of college is not going to have the institutional knowledge, memory, or connections as someone that's been on the beat for years, if not decades.
Right.
So because we've become a news desert, this story largely has flown under the radar and gone unreported.
And when it is reported, the information is fairly sparse.
Fairly sparse, probably an understatement. Was it like 5 sentences? The CBS 19 report, maybe?
Give or take, yeah.
Right? So this is the question we're left with now. We initially thought the shooting did not happen at Tonsler Park during the Tonsler League basketball game. Now indications are saying that perhaps it may have, or it was close enough that those in attendance were exposed to stray bullets.
Yeah.
The terrifying thing is there was a boatload of young children at that game.
Yeah.
A boatload of kids. There were a lot of people at that game.
I mean, it's terrifying that there are gunshots going off near Tonsler Park at any time of day or night.
Well said.
No matter whether there's a basketball league playing or anything else going on there.
Well said. Even more terrifying when hundreds of spectators, including children, are there.
Yeah.
So this question is fair that I'm about to ask. Tonsler Park is a public park. The city of Charlottesville has the liability, the accountability, the liability, the exposure, the risk if stuff like this happens. If you're the city of Charlottesville, what do you do now?
Yeah.
If you're city of Charlottesville, what do you do now? You know, especially after this show, put the photos back on screen. This is straight from the man's Instagram account. This is the man's photos on Instagram. We're giving him credit for these photos. He posted it himself. The guy is posting on Twitter. His handle is at Thotma4L, at THOTMOM for the number L is his Twitter handle. He's straight up saying on Twitter that he was shot in the leg. I was standing inside the park on the sidewalk when I was shot in the leg. He straight up said that.
Yeah.
Then he's posting on Instagram more commentary about this. I personally reached out to him through direct message on Instagram. He replied to my direct message. He said, the issue is not yet resolved. I don't want to become more of a target. He did not want to come on the show. I asked him to come on the show. He did not want to come on the show. He said he needed to rest. I mean, the question this is a fair question. What does Charlottesville City do? You wanted to highlight some of the commentary that Tanisha Hudson offered on her Facebook page. Tanisha Hudson has come on the show before. She's committed to the community. She's passionate. She's a stakeholder, a lifelong resident. someone who knows the origin story of the BCABA. The BCBA was the acronym used to identify the league before Dr. Wes Bellamy took it over and rebranded it to Tonsler League. What did you want to highlight from Tanisha's Facebook post yesterday that you found noteworthy?
I think she called out some of the people involved, and she made a good point that, you know, if this is something that we're afraid of happening ever again, then it would behoove the leaders of the league to ensure that both the league players and the watchers have, you know, the security and have the physical security and the peace of mind of knowing that that players and watchers are have some type of
safety
protection.
Precautions in place.
Yeah.
If you were City Hall or City Council, what would you do? Carol Thorpe, we'll get to your comments. Philip Dow, we'll get to your comments. Carol Thorpe, if you're City Council, what do you do? Judah, if you're City Council, what do you do? If you're City Hall, what do you do?
I mean...
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah.
Or do you say, this was an anomaly, no big deal, business as usual, keep doing the league the way you've been doing it?
I mean, I would love it if this turned out to be an anomaly. I don't have stats on how often there are gunshots going off in that area. I would think police-wise, increased presence, increased car patrols could help to cut down on this type of thing, but I'm certainly no expert.
Why the story is such a dynamic story, or so many layers to the onion, is I agree a police presence needs to happen, but the Charlottesville Police Department is 24% understaffed.
Yeah. That doesn't mean that they can't, you know, schedule a few extra ride-bys, I would think. I
mean, and another wrinkle layer to this onion is the playoffs are Thursday and Sunday at Tonsler Park, and that just happens to coincide with the 5-year anniversary of A11 and A12, where the police are going to be preoccupied on Market Street and around Market Street Park, further straining the human capital resources in the CPD.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a dynamic topic. It's a dynamic topic from a policing standpoint, a security standpoint, a race relations standpoint. From a small business standpoint, Dr. Bellamy's running a league, a business. And hiring security to police or patrol private security is costly and expensive.
No doubt.
And if you need to hire private security to patrol the games, that's going to erode probably the very slim profit margin that running a league like this probably entails. I mean, you're not getting rich running a street ball league in Charlottesville. Carol Thorpe says this: if I'm city council, I have a sit down with the league officials and a few community leaders to come up with an agreeable security plan. Well said, Carol. I think that's the first step. If I was city council, I likely would insist that the private security company is there. And I know people don't, especially in public parks, want to see like security with guns on their hips, because that could be intrusive.
Yeah.
But the liability the city has, if City Hall and City Council and Michael Rogers, the interim city manager, do not get involved after someone has now gone on record and posted photos all over social media of him in a hospital bed saying he got shot in a city-managed public park, if City Hall does not get involved, there's some legal exposure there. Some legal exposure there. Oh, man. Shows you the importance of local news.
Yeah.
Because what really needed to happen on Sunday or Monday when the reporters got to the stations or the newsroom was phone calls made, people on record.
And more information.
Yeah. The fact that this information is so limited is creating fear and uncertainty.
Yeah.
The unknown always creates fear and uncertainty. Do you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And everybody starts theorizing, using limited information, and that just leads to arguments. And more information would help, I think, alleviate that.
Yeah. Man. Scott Aaronworth, hello. Philip Dow, hello. Carrie Rock, hello and welcome to the show. Philip Dow says this. Well said, Jerry. Politics can be the enemy of any city, and one of my issues I have with Charlottesville, putting politics aside, Charlottesville is a wonderful town. He also says the city needs better management. It stands out and it's obvious. I think what's happening is it's just so understaffed right now. The police department's understaffed. We don't have a police chief. We don't have a full-time city manager. We have vacancies all over City Hall. There's vacancies everywhere.
Yeah.
There's vacancies. There's one reporter at the Daily Progress. The person that was live tweeting from the Daily Progress was legitimately an intern. So think about this. The paper trail of this shooting at the park by the paper of record, the Daily Progress, is a couple of tweets by a 20-year-old intern. Think about that. That's bananas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. All right. That's the Thursday edition of this Fine and Fair talk show, the I Love CVille Show. We'll follow this story closely. Neil Williamson on Real Talk tomorrow?
Yes.
Sir Neil Williamson, the king of content himself, on Real Talk at 10:15 a.m. If you know Neil Williamson, you know he is must-watch TV. Must-watch TV. Thank you for joining us. The show presented by Skooma Boutique Dispensary. We encourage anyone watching the program to check out Clifton in Keswick. The restaurant 1779 is fantastic, open to the public. Judah went there a couple of nights ago and said he had a phenomenal dining experience.
Oh, yeah. Could not have been better.
1779, the Clifton, open to the public. Intimate bar, fantastic food, date night, family night. You guys would love it. It's legit. All right, that's the program. Thank you kindly for joining us. For Judah Whitcower, I'm Jerry Miller, and this, the I Love CVille Show. So long, everybody.